I'm at the national finals at Greenvale, and I've harassed Jaye Hall to come and talk to me today, mainly because we've had so many people asking what's going on out in the flooded areas now and where the cattle producers are at. So I thought I'd get it straight from the horse's mouth. So Jaye, thank you so much.
Thanks, Kel.
Where are you at now? What have you been up to lately?
The kids and Jess and I have just been there for the holidays Kaiwara mustering. In the early stages, once we got everything alive and up and going, we had friends actually that came and buried the dead cattle that we could see. Not the ones up in the trees or the ones that were in the channels that we still couldn't get to, but the majority of the dead cattle were all buried beautifully, buried flat. We got all their fences up.
So who helped you with the fencing?
Mark Ruff, Pete and Tony O'Neill, Tom Fay was there for a couple of days, Scott Bandy came for a couple of days. We had two Blaze Aid people there for 3 days. Other people that have helped us before, Tom and Dal, they came for a couple of weeks. So yeah, and Ben was there by then to help with the fencing. So at least it got it like it was going somewhere and getting back to operational.
Yeah, and how good was that for you to have people around you, you know, that wanted to help and and get it done?
Well, that was the thing. It just got it done. It got busy. It got it done. And you could walk out and feel like you were getting somewhere again. And the support just from normal friends was amazing. Craig and Carolyn even. They helped as well. And
I think a lot of people have been finding that, you know, help from their friends, but also help from people they don't even know. And that's important, isn't it, too? So you can get on with.
Well,
you just can go forward.
Whenever the cattle are they're dead in, you know, around the place and the fences are down, you just feel like you're at a Storewood, really. Whereas once that's all over, like we've been back there now, the kids and Jess and I, and done the first round, which didn't take very long. There wasn't many calves, but the calves that were there, we branded. And
so how many calves did you brand, and how many would you normally expect to brand?
Well, usually, you know, in just about every paddock, like in one paddock there was originally 100 red stud cows. There was 53 cows left. We branded 13 calves. In another paddock there was 200 grey stud cows. There was 75 cows left and 23 calves. So it had that, just about that whole ratio all the way through.
And it's probably not until you started mustering that you realised that you worked out what your losses were.
Yeah, not totally. I had a fair idea. I'd spent a fair bit of time, you know, being the stud cattle. You could get, by the time after a month there, you could get around everywhere on a bike. And you could get a rough count of them. And you know, our place is only 45,000 acres, so I had a pretty rough idea that it was pretty well 50% losses across the board.
I was talking to Will Durkin the other day, and he's been mustering at Kenobi, and he said like paddocks that they'd normally muster 1,000 bullocks out of, they've been getting 100 if they're lucky. So that's the next thing to.
But then in that case too, they had another paddock. I don't know how many was meant to be in there, but there was 4,000, just because there's no fences. So cattle, since it's dried out, they've just moseyed around a little bit. You know, there was one paddock was meant to have some in it. It had 15. And then the next paddock they went to had 4,500.
Oh, well, that's good.
You know, at least they could have been from a huge area too.
Because people are finding cattle on other places, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit. We've had 5 returned from one neighbour, because I mean it wasn't like there was a lot of high ground on the next place either. So those in that 130 cows out of the 130 cows that are missing out of one of our paddocks, some of them were dead next door. Some of them are in trees, some of them are wrapped around trees, and then some of them are just completely unaccounted for. You know, we didn't bury 130 out of that paddock, but they're just not there. And they're not coming back.
And Jaye, how easy has it been to access that? Have you been able to get any money out from the government, and how easy was that?
Yeah, we put in for the 75,000. Once we sort of knew what fencing damage there was, chopper bills, avgas bills. And that surprisingly was relatively easy. There was about 4 pages. We didn't actually have to have invoices or anything, but we did a rough estimate of chopper bills. You know, it's never going to pay for any of the cattle that you lost for us, but it paid those upfront bills. It paid for it allowed us to buy some fencing gear, paid for the choppers, paid for the avgas. So
that's basically all been spent now. That
pretty well.
Yeah. And Sisters of the North have started rolling out, you know, through Live Voucher their cash as well. So it's just a little bit of a slower process than we'd hoped. Because Live Voucher is so new.
And that's good to know too, because you hear of all this money coming into Sisters, coming. And so I think it's good now that people need to know that it's being distributed.
And all it takes is just a phone call to, you know, anybody that, or even to walk into one of the shops that are registered, because they know all about it too. So, just if anyone's needing it straight away, but we're just ironing out a few things, but it has started to get out, and that'll ramp up in the next few weeks and months to come. So
and that's important too. There's ongoing costs, you know, feed for potties and more fencing gear. There's still a lot of fences on places coming, you know, on that Charters Towers Road. There's not a fence in sight in places, or the fence from one side of the road is hung up on trees on the other side of the road, and they've got a lot ahead of them yet some places.
Jay, on Facebook, the story about the bulls, can you just tell me about that? Because that's the circle.
That was pretty amazing. I thought that was nice. They'd been they're people from Julia Creek, and they'd been gifted money by just normal everyday people that they didn't even know, and they had quite a substantial amount of money, and they'd lost most of their bulls in their cattle, and it was their idea to sort of try and put it back in locally to help. So they came to us to buy some bulls, and which not only helped them, it helped us as well.
And that must make those people that originally gave the money feel so good to know that they not only helped them, but they helped somebody else as well. And Jay, I just quickly want to thank you too for your beautiful bronze that you donated. And I know how much work goes into them. So you donated a beautiful trophy for the men's draft at our Sisters of the North camp draft a few weeks ago. So, and that's a great, you know, thing for you to do, to give back as well. So thank you for that.
That was all organised before the whole floods, luckily. And but no, afterwards I said, I'd stick with it and keep it there. So
it all, what goes around comes around.
It does.
Thanks, Jay. Thank you very much.
No worries, Cal.